So, like size also very important before doing the research. Like remember, a problem is often too large when it is first considered. So initially you can, think broadly, then come out with the narrow down some problem or issues. So further analyze can reduce large problem into smaller manageable research problems. So whatever research problem we are going to take, it must be manageable. You can easily, do the research question and analysis. So it should be something which you can manage. Topics that are too broad require large literature review. So if you are taking very broad thing, broader aspect, then it will be difficult to do research in terms of literature review, in terms of method. So the research is considered good when it is manageable, very clear, specific. So narrow down and quantitative topic at the start of research process. When you are planning at this stage, you must be specific, or narrow down your research. If you are doing qualitative, maybe when you will do on the way, then you can do some changes. But when you are doing the quantitative research, so it's better, it is advisable to confirm like topic you are taking, confirm problem you are taking, and then you do the research. So qualitative is like different. You can make changes in, later on, easier. And but quantitative, you cannot change. Like once you plan and you do the data collection, you cannot change, because otherwise, if you are changing anything, then that means you need to collect the data again and again. So that is why we don't. I mean, change once we finalize our proposal, we just carry on. The changes will affect our. We have to go back and then again data collection, data analysis. Changes are not easy in quantitative, but qualitative is different. We can do the changes after proposal, and then we can make some changes. So qualitative researchers often narrow their topic after they are in the field. So firstly, when qualitative research you are going to plan, you are going to do, so you can also take the broader aspect, and then after that, once you done, then on the way you can do some changes, which is easily manageable. But quantitative, it's not so. We have to consider the economy. Like the research we are going to take is not very expensive. It will require lots of like budget, involving money to travel the whole Malaysia, or maybe some part of the Malaysia state, so that requires like economy. So if your problem situation is macro inside, it is going to be possible for you to find the answer to your question. So do you have enough time and money? So for that's why those things are we should keep in mind. So researcher should not be too ambitious. What researcher should be wise, especially at prior planning stage, to seek advice from more experienced person. So at the planning stage, if you are doing the first time research, so it's very important to get your advice of your like supervisor, or those who have experience of research, those who have done already research, so that your planning will be more strong. Your proposal of the research will be strong if you already have some, in input from the experienced person in your research. uniqueness. So research always, as I told you, fill the gap in the previous knowledge. So you have to find some uniqueness in your research. So finding from research should contribute to body of knowledge. So your research, your result, your finding should contribute in the previous knowledge, like previously research is done. So I mean, your research may be helpful for the previous research to fill in the gap. Previous. So plan a way that your research should like unique. Your research should like that we are going to contribute something. So already in existence, not merely duplicate existing study. So you are not going to repeat the study. You have to find some gap in the previous knowledge. You have to find some something contribution, not only just previous research that they are done already. So what is the logic to do again this research? So in any research, either you do quantitative or qualitative, ethics are very important. So fulfill guideline for the protection of participants. So make sure you are taking consideration aspects of the ethics before you are planning any kind of research, either quali or quanti. Like you are going to do on the human being, so make sure you are taking care of their protection. I mean, not physical only protection, it's also mental protection. They should not feel they're hurted, even when they fill the questionnaire. So I mean, if any item which may be hurt their sentiments, so then you can remove that item, and you can see your participant how he or she will feel comfortable when you do the research. So you have to take care of your participant in on which you are doing research, either interview or questionnaire or anything you are doing on them. So make sure they you are taking care of the ethics. So your research should be relevant. I mean, relevant in the sense. I mean, in the sense that to contribute in the scientific knowledge, like you are going to contribute in the scientific knowledge in the previous knowledge, and since you are doing in the education field, so make sure your research can enhance the educational policy or can suggest something you research to education policy makers so that they can improve some of the things which might directly or indirectly affecting the education system of the country or at large at I mean global level. So research actually formulation means you are going to translate and transforming the selected research problem into scientifically answerable research question. So in the formulation of the research, you are going to give the meaning to your research. You are going to make it as a scientific. So that is why you have to do the research in a way that it looks like it's a scientific research. It's not something just essay given. So our writing is social science research is different from the newspaper research, newspaper writing. So if you read the newspaper, there is no scientific way. They don't, I mean, try to um, make it scientific. Why? Because I mean, whatever they say is not everything. Every statement is justified, or every statement is not giving the evidence. But in social science, whatever we say in the light of some previous research, so the citations or the number we justify with the number, so that make our research a scientific research. So in the scientific, if you are doing the research formulation, research problem, so the idea is very important, research idea. So you should get the research idea after reading some article from the previous journals. So provide the very basic foundation of research work. So if you don't have any ideas, then how you will do the research? So research idea you can get from the research interest, what research interest you have, then try to read some article, and then of course you will get some idea. And you can also discuss with your friends, with your supervisor, with your colleagues, with your friends about your research. And without research idea, they cannot be researched. So, like research idea is something like seed. Without seed, no plant can come up. So, same thing is the research idea. If you have research idea, then only you can carry on the research. I mean, if you don't have any research idea, so it's like you don't have seed, and then how the plant will grow. So so our intention is to enhance our knowledge about the situation. So the whole purpose of this is to enhance the scientific knowledge. Because why we do again and again research, so that every time we can come up with some new finding and which can contribute in the filling the gap in the previous knowledge. So this is something like issues are very important. So you should have some issues. Either your it should be, I think, very much related with your problem. Even you are not measuring that issues is okay, but you have to give the issues. What are the issues? On the basis of that, you have taken the problem and thinking for doing the research. Like the, I mean. Issue can be like crime in Malaysia, or like divorce increasing in Malaysia. So these kind of things are issues, and based on that you can narrow down, and then but issues must be justified with the data. You must justify your issues from the data that is available, secondary data, or maybe some articles previously done, so that your issues are really issues. We cannot say anything without any evidence. So if any issue, we have to justify with the evidence, like this is the issue, and then you have decided to do this kind of problem research. Then you come up with the statement of the problem, you define the problem, and then research objective and research question. So we go into in detail. So statement of the problem, a research problem statement outline the current situation. You have to give the current situation first, so that your reader can understand what is the current situation. Current situation mean what is the literature review, what is done on your research that you are taking in consideration. So something you tell about the current situation, that until this the research showing trend, and what trend there is there. So then identify the challenges. So then you can show the challenges and specify the location and indicate the problem included. So on which you are doing and why you are doing on that particular sample and particular location. Maybe you can show that location is facing that problem. So that's why you are trying to solve and undertake that location, or that people, that sample, that population. So that is the way you can start your statement of the problem and clarify exactly what is to be investigated. Specifying the variable involved in the problem is stating those variables, typically a question form, or operationally defining the variable. So ask about the relationship between two or more variables stated So it could be relationship or what kind of research would give little bit idea that what they're going to ask in the research question, and the research problem should be stated in such a way that research into the question is possible. So whatever research objective you are framing, so make sure you can form the question also from there. So the topic to be investigated in this study is like parents' belief about homework for primary grade children. So this easily can be make research objective also in the question also. So research background like demonstrate that you have a clear grasp of the issues. So in the background, basically we explain about the issues, that what are the issues that makes you to do, I mean, this research. So these issues, even you are not directly measuring in your research, is okay, but you can give those issues which are affecting your problem and concept underpinning your overall study. So what do you want readers to know about concerning your topic? So what is the thing that you are going to highlight or you are going to focus? So that should be the topic. Context, what are the conditions, setting, and situation with respect to your topic. So all the alignments must be there. So whatever in the topic that you are writing for the background, that should make some sense. The context, what are the conditions, setting, and situation with respect to your topic. So try to, find out the history of your topic, like what previous research saying. From there, you can find some context, situation, condition. So who are exactly or indirectly involved in your research? So why should we pay attention to your topic or the issue you want to study? So address. So whatever issue you want to address, highlight. So it should make some sense and it should be justified properly with the data or with the numbers. Evidence that can prove that this is the really a situation, is not your issue, but it's really a issue for doing some research problem. So it is a bridge that links to the focus of research. So this part is background is very important. It is like a bridge that links to the focus of research. So that will help you to, come out what basically you are trying to focus. So you have to give some issues that are really relevant and important for your problem. So then it will be easier for you to prove that what is your focus of research. So looking for rational, always rationally define your problem and arriving to this problem, interest, gap, need, educational, medical, policy, what change your research can make. So collecting primary information. So you have to collect the, some information which are like very important. So then you come up with the research objective. So first you have to give some like background, then your statement of the problem, and then you come, with the research objective, like use the work that can be measured, realistic. So your research objective should be very specific, very clear. So it could be lead to research question, so that easier for you to make the research question if your research objectives are very clear, and you can have many, research objective, no reader density in one objective. Make sure your research objective, like one research objective, should not be redundant with the second research objective. So they should not, have something repetition among each other. So objective should be closely related to the research problem. So your topic, your research problem, they should be like they should be very much related to your problem. So it should not be something like your research. Uh, topic is different. Your you are mentioning the issues which are not connected. So whatever you are taking, even the research question and everything should be aligned with each other. So, like from the title, from the, your issues that you are taking, and your introduction, and your research objective, they should be aligned with each other. It should look like that you are, doing the problem which are like which are very much related to each other. All should have some alignment. It should not look like your research objective is saying something else, your problem is saying something else, your introduction is looking like you have written something else. So you should be around your topic always in the whole research. So you can use the word when you write research objectives to explore, to determine, to identify, to study, to discuss, or to investigate the relationship. So for good and sound research objective always should be very specific, very clear. So your research objective, why it should be clear so that you can easily measure. So your objective should be very specific and very, the objective you can measure them. What measure you will use. So your research objective you read and make sure, it's a measurable and it is achievable. Like whatever target you have to achieve, you can achieve that target. So prepare your research objective according like what type of study. If you are doing like of course master level, PhD level, so all different level. So remember what for what you are doing the research. So realistic, energy and finance. So whatever research you are planning, you can realistically do or not. How much time, energy is involved, how much money involved. If you want to travel the whole Malaysia, of course, you require lots of money. If you want to travel some state of the Malaysian for doing the research, for data collection, it requires money. So you should plan realistically that what your purpose to do the research, what is the why you are doing this research. So time to accomplish all the objective. So it is actually is the detail of research objective. When you write the research question, it's actually is not something new thing. It's just whatever objective you have, you are giving the details of the research objective. So could be more than the number of objectives. Maybe your research objectives are two, but your research question could be four, or could be three, or could be more. So each research objective may have one, two, or maybe three research questions. So it is not necessary you have like two research objectives, so it must be two research questions. It's not something like that. Like you can have more research questions, even you have less research objective. Your research objective you give in a somehow with a broad sense, but your research question you can narrow down, so it could be more. So based on the literature idea, so uh, so research objective actually research question based on the literature and idea of the research objective. So include the dependent and dependent variable. In your research objective, you should see that whether you are including the dependent variable or not. So research questions are those that the researcher would like answer or address the research in the study. So it's actually you are going to address the answer, the research question you have. So what your task is, you are going to give the answer of that research questions. So you always posing the questions in the research question. You are always trying to put in the interrogative form. So begin with how, what, or why. Like research objective, you was giving like to investigate, but here you are beginning with some interrogation. So specify the independent, dependent, mediating, or control variable. So it should be all. Sometimes you have other than dependent, independent variable, which are maybe mediating variable and could be control variable. So your research have, so it should reflect like you are doing something else than you are also doing mediating effect. So does your research showing mediating effect or not? So include the study design also. So your research objective somebody will read, so they can guess, or they can know that what design you have used. How, like say for example here, relationship, compare difference between groups among the variable. So the relationship actually showing that you are doing the relation design for the research. So if we put this form, so it's easier for the reader to understand your research questions. The another thing actually research objective, you have given research question, then you need to give the research hypothesis. Hypothesis actually is a preliminary or tentative explanation of the researcher of what the researcher consider the outcome of an investigation will be. So prediction regarding the possible outcome of study. Because in the research, you have to predict your result, like what will be your result in the hypothesis. So it could be like alternative hypothesis, there will be difference, and you can choose the null hypothesis, there will be no difference. So you should have the justification, like why you have choosing this explanation about the research in the beginning based on the literature, like what previous research saying, like similar or somehow similar research, what did they find out. So based on that, you can choose the hypothesis. So this is actually your, I mean, in doing the research formulation, like whatever research you are going to take, you should have something interest, or I mean, you should justify that this problem why you are choosing, and some precaution you have to take in terms of ethics, or like some careful design of the research, so that you will not find any problem once like you are in the middle or at the end of the research. So that's why careful planning is very important, and before, I mean, for completion of any research, there's some consideration. I mean, there's some precaution we take, and then we start with the like background. So and the statement of the problem. So those issues are very important when you write the background. And in the statement, you have to define clearly about your problem, what variables involved, and what sample, I mean, why everything when you write in the research require the justification, require the like evidence. So whatever we say in the light of I mean previous literature. So we have to tally with that with the in the form of citations. So we give the reference, we give the citation, like we are, I mean, we prove our statements in the light of theories, in the light of relevant references, researches done, so that we can claim that whatever the research we are doing, it's scientific, because we are consulting the previous literature, and we try to make some contribution in the research, and then we give in the form of research objective in the research question, and then in the hypothesis. So that's we do when we formulate any research problem. So I think yeah, it's a very brief, like, but it's very important. Like research formulation require lots of plan, require lots of reading. So step by step, only you can reach on research objective. After writing the context, then only you can write about the research objective, research question, hypothesis. So, I mean, do you have any question? Anyone want to ask anything about the research formulation and the objective and the hypothesis?
I don't have.
Okay, so because I thought today I will ask everyone about your research. I mean, about your like variables and justification. But today I have meeting after 3 o'clock. So maybe next week I will ask about your like your variable, about your that you are doing.
Okay, doctor.
Doctor,
Yes.
Seeing as next week would be on the 16th and the due date will be the 30th of this month, do you think there will be enough time for us to write it if we just present the variables next week, or can we extend the due date? Extend the due date to December, the middle of December perhaps, to make up for the 2 weeks?
Yes,
If
doctor.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I forgot to mention that you can. There's no need to rush about submission of assignments. I'm planning to postpone the date of submission, so it's okay. You can the first assignment you can submit at the end of November also can, so that you can get sufficient time to write. Since you don't have exam, so we should not worry about the time. So yeah, so it's okay. You can take more time, and so that we can discuss in next week about your what you are doing research. So to make it more proper way, so I can extend the date of the submission.
Okay, doctor. Thank you.
Mm. So yeah. Anybody, left attendance or all done already? Is there anyone who not yet done the attendance, or everyone already done?
All done.
All done? Because you are 58, was attendance. Okay, I will check if anyone left. Then I can mention in the WhatsApp group. Okay. So, okay, thank you very much for joining today class. Then today I have meeting after 3 p.m. maybe. So see you on next week. So 2 to 2:15 we just make for attendance. So you freely you can just make attendance in between 2 to 15. 15 minutes you will get for attendance next week also. Okay. So thank you very much. Take care, everyone.
Thank you,
Goodbye.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
I forgot to ask. Sorry.
Stay, doctor.
Doctor,
Thank you, doctor.
how may we consult with you? Is it personally or in the group? WhatsApp?
For what?
For the research proposal.
I think in the group when next week we have class, then we can discuss.
Okay, thank you,
Next week
doctor.
I will reserve for discussion only.
Alright, thank you.
Okay, welcome.